through the Plan With Me video to put together our March Traveler's Notebook kit. I need to apologize ahead of time. I am just getting over that really like nasty flu cold thing that has been going around, and so you'll hear my voice kind of squeak every once in a while, and it's just me getting over that. So I apologize for that. All right, who's ready to dig in? You guys, I love this, the way this turned out. And the collection that we're using for March is the Simple Stories Spring Farmhouse. And it is just such a fun pastels and springy and happy collection. But I love the black in it because I think it's such an unexpected twist that we've kind of worked in for spring. So that's what we're going to use. Now, I decided to use for this month the Carpe Diem Typewriter Floral Traveler's Notebook. And the reason I chose that is because it kind of reminded me a little bit of that pattern, but even more so was that when I opened up the Traveler's Notebook, that black and cream gingham is so fun, and it went so well with this Spring Farmhouse collection. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm using. Now, you can use whatever Traveler's Notebook that you already have. You do not have to use the one that I use, and you also don't have to coordinate your outside with your inside to make everything, you know, make sure everything's matchy-matchy. One thing that I wanted to mention, because I always get questions about this, you do not have to switch out your Traveler's Notebook cover every month. I do, just because I like things to coordinate, and I think it looks better for you guys so that as you're kind of watching me, you can see how everything might coordinate together. For me, it's kind of like a pair of shoes or a purse. I have more than one pair of shoes, and I have more than one purse. So for me, Traveler's Notebook covers are the exact same thing, and I like to switch them out a lot. If you see a cover that you like that I'm working with, you can order that on laylebymail.com, and you can either order it separately or you can order it with your next kit. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig in. So we're going to move the completed setup off to the side, and I'm going to move in the, I better always keep this handy because sometimes I need it to reference. I need a bigger desk. You guys, my desk is, I don't think I've ever showed you. Maybe I have. I bet it's 4 feet by 3 feet, and it's a tall table. So I actually have a lot of room, but I am, when I am crafting, I get all over the place. So we'll just move that over there. Okay. All right, starting with our blank Traveler's Notebook. We always start, when I do these, I always start, so I assume you guys do, by decorating the pockets. So my pockets are all blank right here. One thing I want to mention, when we talk about decorating the pockets, most times I'm adding stickers directly to my Traveler's Notebook. And sometimes they get a little sticky, and so when you're moving out of one and into another, you might have a little bit of sticker residue. This time I actually used a little tiny bit of Goof Off, or Gooby Gone, or something. I think it's called Goof Off. But anyhow, just a little tiny bit I put on a paper towel and just wiped it off. Then I took a clean paper towel that was just a tiny bit damp and then wiped any of that residue off and let that completely dry. So if you ever are a little bit more sticky and you're having trouble getting some of the sticky off, that's a good thing to try. Okay, so starting with the pockets, we are going to cut apart our elements. And I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I am using, make sure that you can kind of see that. The trimmer that I'm using, it's a guillotine trimmer. So over here you can see, let's see, there, you can see there's an arm there. It doesn't have a blade, it's metal on metal. And I have used this trimmer for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I don't know, it seems like forever. Same one, never had to replace. So while we're cutting, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And I just like to tell you guys about the tools I'm using because a lot of times you're curious. We are going to cut apart each of those 3x4 cards. So as I'm talking, that's what I'll be doing. I'm just cutting apart. So this guillotine trimmer is made by a company called Purple Cow. And I have looked before for you guys, and I don't think they're in business anymore. I haven't been able to find a Purple Cow guillotine trimmer. But when I do Google, I have found Tonic makes one and Fiskars makes one. I have not tried either of those, but guillotine trimmer I can recommend because you get a really nice crisp cut every time. And my favorite thing about that is you never, ever, ever have to replace the blade because there isn't a blade. Now I do want to show you something. This is something that I picked up a couple months ago because it's a little bit more portable if I want to take it with me on the go. So this is made by Fiskars and it is a mini guillotine trimmer. So at this point, it would now work because some of you guys are going, oh my gosh, it's a huge trimmer. And I know you like to have smaller trimmers that you take with you if you're, going to work. So move that away for a second. Now that I have trimmed that down, I can use this little guy. So it just makes it a little bit easier to work with. And this one I found on Amazon. Anyhow, that guillotine is so awesome to work with. I would not recommend this though if you have a need to trim larger papers. So, oopsie, we started with a 12 by 12 and you could not, this isn't big enough to trim a 12 by 12. But if you had scissors and you just cut out those 3 rows, then you could have a smaller trimmer like this. So, we're just going to keep on cutting. One thing, if you have not subscribed with me before on these kits, usually I start out this way, and I start out by cutting the cards. I don't always cut the cards though. So it's a really good idea not to prep ahead of time, because if you prep ahead of time and you think we're cutting the cards and I don't cut the cards, then you have cut paper that we need to remain not cut. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now let's bring back in our cover and we're going to start decorating the inserts. Now we have 12 cards here and I use usually most of the cards, but not always all of the cards when I am decorating. Oops, let's move that up a little bit so you can see. Better. Okay. So I don't use all of the cards. So a lot of times I'm using the fronts. All of these are double-sided, obviously. Sometimes I use the front, sometimes I use the backs. And then other times I'm using the cards to decorate the covers, the inserts with. So let's get started. Actually, one thing that I need to do, and usually when I'm thinking ahead of time, I only have the trimmer out once. So let's do that. We're gonna have to come back one more time, but let's also cut these 12 by 12 papers. So what I'm doing here, each time I'm cutting off these strips. Now, I don't want you to throw these little product strips away. We're going to use them. I'm gonna show you one thing that, excuse me, I like to do with those. Now, with the other 12 by 12 papers, the other 2, excuse me, in this kit, we are cutting them down to slip cover our inserts. Now, in the kit, you have 1 insert. Now, I sent 1 insert with every bi-monthly kit, and that's assuming that you already have inserts that you've been working with. And because you don't necessarily make it through an insert every month, you are most likely taking an insert out from your prior month and re-slip covering. Just a little bit of kind of behind the scenes there. So we need that to be tall enough to slip cover. So it's 12 by 12 right now. We're cutting that down to 8 1/4 or 8.25 because that is the height of our insert. So there's that. While I have my trimmer out, this little guy, I'm going to cut a 3-inch piece off the end. So let's cut that. So I have 3, that's gonna make that 9. Now that little 9 guy, I'm gonna do something with this side. So I had that, I made that 3. This one I'm gonna cut down to 8 1/4. Okay, 8 1/4. My 3-inch came off from that. I have a little tiny strip left. And then this is the 8 1/4 by 12 that we cut at first. All right, so let's set those pieces aside. And let's come and we'll do the same thing to this one. Well, I shouldn't say the same thing because we're only doing 1 cut here. This we're cutting to 8.25, so 8 1/4 by 12. So it's already by 12. There's my 8 1/4. So now those are big enough for me to slip cover. So I'm going to put those things off to the side and we'll move our trimmer out of the way again. And we'll bring back in our tin. Okay, the reason I had to do all of that was because the first card that I used was not a 3x4 card. It was what we just cut off of that piece. So I'm starting out by layering that little guy in here. Now, this process, you guys, for me, when I first put it together, it's a back and forth process. I just start by putting things in the pockets. So sometimes we get so paralyzed by, oh my gosh, what should I do? I don't know what to do. What do I put in there? Nothing here is permanent until we make it permanent. And then even then it's really not permanent because at the end of the month, a lot of times we take it out. So don't get so caught up in, you know, my gosh, what if it's not perfect? One person emailed me last month and asked, how do I decide what patterns to work with and what goes with what? And I thought that was a really great question. So I wanted to answer that as we're kind of talking a little bit. So because typically when I am doing the my Layle by Mail Traveler's Notebook kits, I'm working with one scrapbook collection. And the benefit of doing that is that it kind of takes all the thought out of it for you. Meaning you don't have to decide to take a floral and a small pattern and a big pattern and a stripe and how to make them all work together. When I do my personal Traveler's Notebooks, I don't use the same collection and I like to mix and match things up. So I kind of have a formula. And usually what I do, I love to incorporate florals. I like to incorporate some blank space or some white space. And so, for example, this would be what I would call white space. So this one I would tuck in there just because there's a lot going on with those two florals, but I want, you know, something to ground that a little bit. I'll do a pattern, something like this. A lot of times I like to put a stripe in. So look how nice that looks together. You've got a big floral, you have a smaller pattern that coordinates. It could be floral or it could be, you know, polka dots, or it even could be like this smaller pattern on the boot, and then a stripe or a polka dot. And really that's kind of the way that I approach things when I, you know, I'm trying to mix and match patterns. All right, so there's just a little kind of behind the scenes there on how I do what I do sometimes. All right, so those two are gonna go there. Then we're going to take this Rise and Shine card. Now, a lot of times we get hung up on, well, I don't want that rooster in my pocket. I don't want a rooster in here. We're not going to use the rooster. We are solely using this card for the color up there and kind of that blank space, if you will. And then this little guy is going to go right here. Again, don't worry that you're going to have some words poking in and out of the pocket. We're going to cover those up. So again, we're just using that pattern. When it comes to this little card, I wanted to use this card, but I found when I initially tucked it in, it was a little bit too tall for me. So what I did, I just took my scissors. Now this is where I could, you know, bring in my little guillotine trimmer. And I just want to cut right above that handle on that little, I know you guys are all saying it. You're like, it's this, it's this, it's this. And I can't think of it. Anyhow, I'll think of it later. That little decor piece, right? That little tiered stand. There we go, little tiered stand. So this little guy, he's actually still going to be a little bit too tall. Well, actually he works. He is just the right size that I need, and I think that's why I cut him down. Okay, then are those the rest of the cards? Yep, those are the rest of the cards. So right now, out of 12 cards, I just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I use more, sometimes I use less, just depends on what we're doing. Okay, now we're going to bring in this 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And I always use a lot of the stickers, but typically when we're done with the base decorating that I do in the Plan With Me videos, you guys have a lot of extra stickers left over. So I decided to start doing something at the end where I'll show you what I do with those leftover stickers, and then you can have that as an add-on if you would like to purchase it. Okay, so we're starting with this fun little hello frame, and that is just going to tuck right in about there. Now, when we talk about things not being permanent, because this is a sticker, it is kind of permanent. But you can, you know, just barely put it down in case you need to move it. That's usually how I start out by doing things. All right, then we are going to take this little tab sticker, that little gingham. See, now you can see why I decided to use that, this particular Traveler's Notebook, right? And that's just gonna go right there at the top of that pink card is a little tab. Then there is a sticker right up here at the top, word strip sticker, that says Live and Love. And that will go right there. before I all the way stick that other edge down, I'm taking this cute little, I love the kind of the greenery in here. I think it's so fun. That I'm gonna tuck just kind of in right there, right by that, right above that card. Now, one thing that I wanna do, I have some foam adhesive pop dots, and you can buy these at any scrapbook store or any craft store, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. If you have a local scrapbook store, definitely shop there. And that, I'm just gonna put one of those foam dots right on the back side of that piece. So then that way it lifts itself up. It's already kind of lifted because it's partially on that pocket, but you can kind of see how it is lifted up there. So then it doesn't kind of get flat and get squished down. In fact, I thought I did, but I did not do that on my originals. So I'm actually gonna do that right now. Okay, so then on this little corner right here, it looked kind of sharp. Well, it's not sharp, it's blunt. I mean, it's blunt, not sharp. But I thought these little pink flowers right here, I just pulled them from my ear, would be fun right up in that little corner because flowers are good, right? I love flowers. So that is going right there. Pull that up so you can see that. All right, so now we are going to do the same thing with this corner over here. We're going to use these three blue flowers that look like they should go around a corner, right? So that's gonna go right there. Guys, guess what I forgot to do? If you have been with me before, you know that I outline all of my cards. So I will show you what I mean on my sample. Do you see how I have black marker around all of those cards? And then this is what it looks like without it. Do you see? Oh my gosh, you can see part of my hair there as I'm trying to look to make sure you can see what I'm showing. Anyhow, do you see the difference? So usually what I usually do that, well, let's be honest, friends. We're all friends, right? Usually I don't do them until after they're in the pockets, but it's probably not a recommended thing. That's just kind of a lazy thing. So let's pretend like we're rewinding. Now you guys know me, and if you haven't watched one of my videos before, you see it live. I do very little editing, pretty much no editing ever, unless I forgot something or need to, stop and take a potty break or something. Anyhow, you kind of see what I do as I go. So this is one of those when you tell your kids, do as I say, not as I do. I am going to outline with those cards in the pockets just because I don't want to take them back out. So I would recommend that if you have not already put the cards in the pockets, if you are watching first, go ahead and do your outlining before you put them in the pockets. But I mean, it's not rocket scientist. I mean, it's not rocket science, not rocket scientist. It is actually, it's fine. It's really funny. I like to use that expression. It's not rocket science. And I do that a lot when I teach in person. And then one time, a lady raised her hand as I said that. And she said, you want to know something? And I said, what? And she said, I'm a rocket scientist. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. That was really fun. And then another time, I can't remember her name, Rosario maybe. Some of you may know her. Anyhow, she, I think, is like a nuclear physicist or something. And so I was joking about rocket scientists, that whole story in one of my classes. And one of her friends said, did you know that Rosario's a nuclear physicist or whatever she was? Anyway, it's kind of funny. So just rambling away, and that's typically what happens, you guys, on these videos. We're all friends and we're all just hanging out like we're crafting together and chit-chatting. It's just that I'm by myself. Now, some of you I know, Susie and Michelle, and maybe others, Susie and Michelle have told me that's how I know that. But they get together, you guys, and they both order my kits, and they get together and they work on them together. Isn't that fun? Wouldn't that be fun? So they have, just like a girls' craft day, and they sit down and work on them together. And then I have another set of customers that buy my kits. Katie Ann? Oh my gosh, and Karen, her mom, I think. Anyhow, they do the same thing together. So they work on their kits together too. And I love that. And I love that you guys tell me that you do that, because it just, you know, here I am. I feel like you guys all know me because you hear my chit chat all the time, but I don't really get to know you. So I love to, when you guys share your little stories and tidbits with me. So now I also am going to outline that tag, but I'm going to, usually I have a little piece of scratch paper here. I didn't grab one ahead of time. So I just opened up that traveler's notebook, the insert, and I'm going to use that as kind of a piece of scratch paper. And if I'm outlining cards, I will usually do that as well. I won't do it on my work surface. I'll grab something out, because if I do it on my work surface, Murphy's Law, we all know our friend Murphy and what happens, that I accidentally go whoop, and off it goes to the edge, and then I now have Sharpie on my work surface. Incidentally, the black pens that I use without fail are this Sharpie. Super fine tip, and I love using those just because they are super easy to get. I just buy mine on Amazon, and I buy them it seems like I'm buying them a lot at a time, but anyhow, and I love the fact that they're permanent because they're Sharpie. All right, so now I am going to, the shipping tag, I'm going to take the white kind of string that comes on it off, and I am going to take this little tag right here. Now this little tag has a hole up at the top, so make sure to take that little hole out because we want that hole in our tag. I did not do this when I initially put my sample together, but I would definitely do this again. So we're going to do it again. I am going to take just this, you know, part of the packaging, and I'm going to take that sticker right here, and I'm going to put it on there. So I just adhered the sticker, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that off. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want this to be more like a tag than a sticker. It is, when it is a sticker, it just caused, it just stuck in some places and not in others, and it kind of caused me a problem. But anyhow, now what's really funny, because now you can tell I didn't do this before, because I just covered that, I just covered up a little hole. So I don't have one of my hole punches handy. So if you want to grab a hole punch really quick, you can punch that hole. Otherwise, I'm just going to take my little scissors there and kind of make that hole. Be careful if you're doing that. All right, so now I have this little tag that we made from the sticker, and I have the big shipping tag, and I want to kind of put those together. I'm taking this kind of paper twine, this little paper twine that is part of your kit, and what I'm doing is I'm winding around my fingers a few times just because, you know, it's been in your kit and a little baggy for a while. I want it to not kind of have any kinks in it, and I want it to have a little bit of a curl to it. So it's pretty pliable. I can kind of move it around, and there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I am starting with the main tag first. I'm going to fold it in half like that. And then I have a little loop, right? I'm going to put the little loop through the back side of the tag, through the hole, and then I'm going to thread these little guys through like this. I'm in desperate need of a manicure, you guys. My nails need to be done. I have an appointment on Wednesday. So just know, I know that they need to be done. They're a little bit grown out. Anyhow, all right, now we're gonna just tie a cute little bow. And sometimes this takes me a couple times to do. So usually what I'll do is I'll tie it, and then I'll turn it and kind of play with it a bit. And then I usually will then make the little loops a lot smaller than I want them, so that I can then pull them tight. And then just kind of keep messing with it. Just really depends on your, you know, little tag or your little bow and how you want your little bow to look. So there we go. Then I am going to take my tag now that it was a sticker, and I'm going to loop it through the back of that. So let's see. I need to make my little hole a little bit bigger here. All right, I'm gonna loop it through the back. So this little tail is coming through the front. Twist that again, try to get it through there, through the back, and then through the front. Okay, now I wanted this to a little bit like I said, sometimes it's a back and forth. Sometimes it's just a little bit playing with it just to get it in how you want it. So anyhow, I will let you guys keep playing with yours, and we won't continue to do that on the video. But anyhow, now I have kind of my little tag on a tag. Now what I did here though, I decided I wanted that to be lifted up a little bit. So I took one of my little foam adhesives, or one of my little pop dots here, and I put it down here towards the bottom, just because I wanted it to lift a little bit. And I don't really put it all the way down yet because I kind of want to get that in the pocket first, and then I'll play with it a little bit. So let's bring our traveler's notebook back in, and now I know I need to move that a little bit, and this. So it could sit like that if I wanted. If I want that to tuck in a little bit more, I'm just lifting up that pop dot and scooting that down a little bit more like that. Okay, now I may need to, here, I think I'm going to add one other little pop dot up here as well, so it kind of has a place to sit. And then I just kind of play with that a little bit more until I got it to, you know, be cute where I wanted it to look. Okay, so there's my little, now you guys, this is where you see the type A in me come out. I'm going to feel like I have to keep messing with that, but I'm not going to. Okay, so there are my little tags in the pocket. So now we're going to decorate this little bottom pocket, and I need this pink flower sticker, and I need this little guy. Okay, so we've got the pink flower sticker and that little guy. Pink, yellow. Well, I guess there's pink flowers on there, but okay. So that I'm just sticking right down there. And then this little guy is, oh, I need one more sticker. That's why I kept thinking pink. This guy is going to kind of go right there. And I am adhering directly to my traveler's notebook. If you don't want to do that, or maybe you have a really nice leather traveler's notebook that has pockets, you can maybe get a piece of cardstock, or even take this packaging and attach everything to here and then slide that in the pocket so you wouldn't see it, but then you're adhering to, you know, a piece of paper, or, you know, something that is not going to kind of get in the way of your beautiful traveler's notebook. Okay, so there, we've just kind of filled up that pocket. Now, what we want to do right here in this space, the Spring Farmhouse collection has some really fun bow clips, and there are 4 different color pattern bow clips in the collection, and everybody has one. So depending on your kit, you may have one that looks like this, or you may have one that looks like this. You may have a black and cream gingham, a black floral, they're all different, and so you're going to take your particular clip and tuck it in right there. Now, the clips, I love adding clips to my pockets because I think it just adds a little bit more decorativeness and a little bit of kind of texture and dimension too. But sometimes I will use them on the top of my inserts, or even the side of my inserts, as bookmarks as well. So I have a couple different options with that clip. All right, so now we still have this live a little. If you wanted that live a little, that's certainly applicable. You could want to live a little, so you can leave that there. But I used this blue sticker, this blue flower sticker, and just kind of covered that up a bit. Now, I don't get really like caught up on, oh my gosh, there's a little bit of black showing through. I don't, you know, that's fine. That's not a big deal. But if you wanted to cover, just kind of play around with where that goes. Then, there we go. That's one of my little voice cracking. Then I'm taking this little light blue sticker and just putting it over here because there's a little bit more blue that's sticking out there. Anytime my voice cracks like that, it reminds me of the Brady Bunch. And some of you guys will remember the Brady Bunch. I saw something on the Today Show the other day that they're having like a 50, was it 50? I think it was 50-year reunion or something. HGTV bought the Brady Bunch house, the original Brady Bunch house. And here's a little tidbit, because if you guys, we were working together, this is what I would do. I would stop working and I'd say, oh my gosh, did you see this on the Today Show? So the facade, the actual house, the outside of the house, is a real house, the Brady Bunch, that looked like it was filmed at, but the inside didn't exist in a house. That was on a stage at a studio. And so HGTV, the house last year, I think, was put up for sale by an individual in California. HGTV, the Home and Garden TV network, purchased the house, and they're actually having the original cast from the Brady Bunch renovate the inside of the house to look exactly like the original Brady Bunch house. Isn't that crazy? Anyhow, I was watching it and I'm looking at Greg and Bobby and Peter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they look so old. Marsha looks really good, but everybody else looked really old, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I that old? Anyhow, now what I don't remember, this also happens, you guys, I don't remember as I was talking if I explained why the Brady Bunch came up, so I better circle back. There was an episode where Peter was a young adolescent boy, and his voice started changing, and all of the brothers and sisters teased him a lot because he'd be talking and then his voice would go and it would crack. So I'm coming full circle. That's why it reminded me of the Brady Bunch, because my voice cracked like Peter. All right, let's keep going. If you guys needed a little bit of time to catch up, let's just say that's what I was doing. I was giving you guys time to catch up, right? All right, that's what I'm going with. Okay, so next, this little sticker that says Happy Day, I am going to put that right here. And then I'm going to decorate down here. And I typically always add stickers here. And again, kind of at the beginning when I was saying sometimes you find you may need to use a little bit more, you need a little bit more help to get a little sticky off. If there's a little bit of residue and you can't kind of, you know, rub it off with your finger, then you can use that goof off. But this is why, because I am adding stickers. I like to add stickers down here. That's just a perfect spot, I think, to decorate. So I put enjoy there, and then I put this little tag. Now look at, you guys see a theme? Tag, tag, tag. So this little tag is going right there. What a lovely day. And then that little eye looked like the perfect spot to add a little pink sticker. So we're dotting the eye with that little pink sticker. Okay. So now we are, my whole, my inside is, I should say inside, my pockets are decorated. Our pockets are decorated because we're working together. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to add a little bit of decoration to this piece right here. We're going to make a little insert to slide in there and have it be super cute. So we are going back to one of the pieces that we cut earlier, and it is this piece. Remember when we cut that and it was 3 3/4 by 12, and then we made our 3 by 4. I'm using this side, and I'm using this side to add here that fun little pink pom-pom trim, and we're going to tuck it in the corner. I mean, tuck it in that little side pocket. So if you're using a Carpe Diem Traveler's Notebook and you have a side pocket, then that's what you'll do. If you don't have a Traveler's Notebook that has a side pocket, then you do something else with this. But some of you might be thinking, oh, but I really like this floral and I want to use the floral side instead. Let me show you why I very specifically picked this side, because I'm going to bring April in for a second. So April, super cute Easter theme, but watch this. I'm going to take that cute little insert that we're going to make in a second. I'm taking it out of March, and I'm going to slide it into April. All right. But look at, you guys, there's something in there that's getting in the way. Anyhow, but look at how cute that is. And that yellow goes perfectly with with April too. So when you make little things like this, they don't have to be disposable, okay? So when you make things like this, and we've made something like this, I think we did in the December Traveler's Notebook Kit, save these because you can use them in future TNs. Anyhow, so that is what we're going to make. And it is the easiest thing in the world to make, you guys, right? Because we already have our piece, and I cut that at 8.25, so it will slide right in there. Now, this one's a little tight too, so, oh no, it's okay. You may want to just slide that in first. Make sure that it's gonna fit. You may need to trim it a little bit, but that's okay for us. So let's move that out of the way. We have our little pom-pom trim here. Love to put pom-pom in there, isn't that so fun? We need a little bit of liquid adhesive. And I love to use the Nuvo, it's clear drying craft glue. So it's just pretty generic craft glue, but it's clear drying, and I love the texture of it and the consistency. So, but if you have, you know, 3M glue, or you have Eileen's tacky glue, quick dry adhesive, whatever it is, but I do recommend that you use some kind of liquid adhesive because you want this to, you know, stay and not go anywhere. I'm going to bring back in my little scratch paper again because I don't want to get glue on my work surface. Sometimes it's always a good idea if you're using trim like this to look at both sides, because sometimes there's a front side and a back side, and here there's not. So I think I did it this way before. So we'll experiment together here. So I'm just going to run a really thin bead of glue right along that edge. All right, and let's put the lid back on that, because if I don't, then later I'm going to have a problem. I know it. And then I just take that and lay that right along there. Now, oh, come on, you guys. Your little trim here is about 9 inches long. So you have a little bit extra. If you want to pull it taut, you can, or you have enough that you can just, you know, leave it pretty flat. You don't need to pull it taut. All right, so kind of get that straightened out a bit. Press it down. And then get your little scissors and trim. Now, you can, if you'd like, it really is kind of a preference. If you like that look, if you like the background showing, or that little, not background, if you like that little border showing, it just kind of adds a little bit more fun. You can adhere it that way, but if not, there's kind of what it looks like on the back side. So if you decide, oh, you know what, I actually like it the other way, well, you can't take that off now. Actually, you could, since I didn't show you guys that before. You could, because now this could be the part that goes inside the pocket. So let's do that. I'm going to turn mine back over. So now I am adhering to this side, because I kind of liked the way that looked. That was kind of fun, wasn't it? So now we can do, you have two options. If you want to do it the front way or the back way. And that's something I'm not going to edit out, because I think it is good for you guys to, I mean, that's what happens when I work, right? It's just that a lot of times I discover things like that before I start, and you guys don't see that because I've already figured that out in my sample. But other times it's kind of a trial and error, and we discover kind of fun little things like that. So there is another option. Okay, so there we go, and that's pretty dry. I'm not gonna be too concerned about sticking that in there now. Oh, one thing I want to mention, some of these little guys have little strings that they're just kind of tethered together a little bit. So if you feel like you want to get out your little small scissors and get rid of a few of those little strings, you can. Oh, we're a little bit long here too. Let's take that guy off too. Okay, so now let's slide that in. And the nice thing, because I've done that now 2 ways, we can look at both ways and you guys can see which way you like it better. Oh, you guys, oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Okay, look at, right? Isn't that cute? I mean, 2 totally different ways, but I think I like this way better. Now, it is gonna be a little bit, it's raised a little bit because obviously you have the stuff that was on the inside, but that I think is fun. All right, so there we go. And then you can just mess with the placement of that a little bit. If you need it to slide a little bit further in, you can. All right, so we now have the cover is decorated. So now let's set that off to the side and we're going to work with our inserts. So we would, usually what is happening here, I would have my February Traveler's Notebook out. So let's grab that. I would have my February TN out and I would take the cover off of this one and I would use this, well, you know what, let's just do it because I'll just fix it later. Oh, there's my O. I wondered what happened to that. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off because this is what I do every month. This is my February, well, it's part January, no, actually that's good timing because, no, I'm rambling, you guys. Anyhow, has 1 day of, no, not really. Yep, 1 day of February. Let's just pretend that I was still using this. I would take off the cover from January and I would now make a cover for February. I take off the cover for February and now make a cover for March. So that's what I'm assuming that you guys are doing. You have 1 cover that you've already been working with, or 1 insert, and then you have the new one that you'll also be recovering too, slip covering. So let's start out by slip covering this one. So I'm going to take the piece that I had cut, 8.25 by 12. 8.25 because 8.25 is the height of a standard traveler's notebook. And I'm going to put that there. And put it about the center. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to mention, you guys. So when you fold paper, folding paper seems really self-explanatory, but I want to share a little tip. When you fold black paper, when the paper is printed, ink is layered on top, right? But the paper has a white core. So I'm going to see if you can see this. And you see how you can kind of see the white core that is now showing through there. That is because I have folded it and it has broken the fibers in the paper. It's super noticeable when you're doing black. So what I want to show you, if you fold the opposite of the edge that's going to be exposed, then you will have a crack like that, but the crack will be on the inside and you won't see it. So let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to start out by folding this in half. Because that would be the center point of my insert, right? My fold is here. So if there's any cracking or separating in the fibers of the paper, it's going to happen here on the inside. But when I open this up, the fold is on the inside. So I don't get the cracking there or the separating of the fibers. So that's, I think, kind of a fun trick. So the reason I bring that up is because you saw mine on the outside edges. So I'm actually going to start out by folding this the opposite way of how I would cover it. Because when I do this to slip cover, I want the fibers, if they're going to break, I want them to break on the yellow side and not the black side. I didn't do that very well. It's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. For example's sake. Then I'm going to fold that back in. And you guys, it's magic, I swear. But it is not, I don't have the separating the fibers there because I've already folded it on the inside. Okay, here's a little tip. So now let's open this back up. And I am going to, let's get that out of the way so it's not distracting. Oh, well, Don't mind, but that just tore. Okay, so we are now going to use our washi that is part of the kit to temporarily adhere that. It's going to last for the month, and then we're going to take it off at the end of the month when we're slip covering later, just like I did here from last month's kit. So you have two different, well, you're going to have, just like the clips, Spring Farmhouse has 3 different styles of washi, and that is what you see here. These 3, the kind of greenish, bluish with the plants on it, the pink gingham, and the black floral. You're gonna have one of those 3, and then the yellow we're using for the April kit. So on my particular part of my kit happens to have this pink gingham. So I'm usually using about 3 inches, I want to say, about 3 inches, just to tack that down, right? Okay, and then I'm going to go this way, but then I'm just, for sakes of the video, I'm not going to fold that the wrong way first and then fold it the right way, just so we can keep going, because you guys already saw me do that over there. All right, so I'll get another about 3-inch piece and adhere there. Okay, now, oh, I did that really fast, you guys. Don't look too closely at that. Oh, that's gonna bug me. I gotta fix it. Oh. All right, I need to go slower. Okay, there we go. It's still kind of messed up, but that's okay. So there is my insert. And usually I don't need to do that, but I went a little fast there. Okay, so there's my insert. There's my insert closed. And I am actually going to grab a little clip just so it makes it easier for us to work with while it is closed. I'm just gonna do that too. Oh. All right, so now I go about decorating the front of that insert. And usually what I do, I know you guys are like, but why is she doing that? Because that is black. It is, but it's just what I do. Because you can still see it. And if I don't do it, then it bugs me. Because I didn't actually do it on my sample. And I noticed that it was going to bug me. All right, so now what I'm doing, I am actually taking these 2 cards and I'm going to layer them. So if we look at this, see how that pink is layered on the green? Grab my little trimmer here. I need to trim a 1/4 inch off of this edge and a 1/4 inch from the top. Now, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't have to do 1/8 off this side, 1/8 here, 1/8 here, 1/8 here, because I have all this extra pink space. But sometimes you need to take it off evenly around all 4 sides or it will look funny. Oh, and guess what? This is where, let's see, usually, oh, there we go. So I'm taking a 1/4 inch here, and I'm taking a 1/4 inch from the top. And that's a 4. Oh, see, now I can't do this with my little guy because I don't have a mark there. So I'm just going to grab my full-size trimmer, and I need to take a 1/4 inch off the top. All right. Now, the way it goes. Now, I'm going to grab my adhesive and put a little bit of adhesive on there. This is a Xyron Mega Runner, my favorite adhesive by far. And, well, actually, there's 2 that I use. When I am home, I use that big Mega Runner. It's refillable, cartridges are refillable. And when I am out and about, I use this little guy, something like this. This is a sample, but this is a Tombow. Their permanent adhesive is really awesome too. They're also refillable, but this one I have as a sample. Anyhow, oh, well, I have this. You guys, this was something that I offered as an add-on, and I will offer these from now on. So if you didn't see this, and if you didn't order one of those with your kit, you can still order anytime, next kit or anytime. But look at, aren't these pencil pouches cute? Little kind of banana milk regular milk and strawberry milk. Love them. All right, let's get that out of the way. So now with my little card here, let's grab my, my scratch paper because I want to outline that. And that is going to go, get my adhesive again. You can use glue stick too, pretty much anything that's just gonna get something to stick. And that's gonna go right there. Then I'm gonna add 2 more stickers. The fresh, when they're flowers, yes, they're fresh. Hopefully your flowers are fresh. Or actually, if they're not, hopefully they're not dead. But they are maybe silk flowers or fake flowers, then they don't have to be fresh. Now, what did I do with the sticker sheet, you guys? Oh, there it is. Okay. We're probably going to hear a loud crash again in a minute because things are going to fall down where I have them perched. Okay, so one more sticker. And the sticker that I used is this cute little one with the bird. And that just goes right down there at the corner. All right, there is our first insert. And our first insert can go into our Traveler's Notebook. And there we go. Voila. Okay, next one. The next one, we had already pre-cut this piece, also 12 by 8 1/4. So I'm going to take, oh, where did it go? Where did the insert go that I had, that I took out of this package? Oh, here it is. All right, so now I am going to turn that over. Now, you actually with this one have an option. Everything's double-sided. So if you look at this and go, oh my gosh, I love those little birds. You could decide to do this on the front instead of this on the front. Let me show you what it ends up looking like when we're done decorating it. So that could give you a little bit more of a decision. That is what we're doing on there. All right, so you can decide. But we're gonna go ahead and do that the way that, that I had it. Now, if you do decide to do it this way, before you actually fold, well, it doesn't really matter. Make sure your birds are right side up. And actually, you do want to make sure, well, you'll know that here because you can see that they're right side up. Okay, so now, actually, let's go back and fold this in half first. It seems to work better when I do that, when I fold in half first. And I just kind of crease it a little bit. So I have center. It's always good to be centered. Fold that in, and a little bit of washi. This washi fun. I love the washi in this collection. Anytime you have washi that you can use with the collection, but it's so fun that you can use it after the fact too. Love that. All right, generally this is what I do because you can't just automatically fold it. I usually don't. I don't automatically fold it when it is open because you need a little bit of give to account for that width there. So that is folding well. Let's get the rest of that washi off of there. Oh, now I can't see it. Glasses. Well, readers. You know what I should start doing? I should start saying when you're starting to put the kit together, it's a good idea to have adhesive and a black pen and a trimmer and readers. I swear I have about 20 pair of readers. They're everywhere. Well, I can't. My gosh, it's like Scotch tape when you're wrapping Christmas presents and you lose the end and you can't find it. I'm gonna make it. Oh, you guys, I just made the biggest mess of that. Don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't make a mess like that. Anyhow, there. That will probably not last long, but for now it'll be good. Anyhow, that is probably where I should edit, but I'm not going to because I'm just like you guys. We all do weird, funny mistake things like that, right? And you know what? That's when you say, oops, oh well, and you just keep working because life is too short to get upset about something like that, right? All right, now my outlining. And you'll see it's not straight. That is not supposed to be straight. This is one of those things, the more straight you try to make it, the more crooked it is. But it's just kind of decorative. And we're going to use 2 more cards. We're using this card, Live Life in Full Bloom, and then this green card, but I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to layer it. So I need to get out my trimmer and trim this card. And I'm getting out my big trimmer because I remembered I didn't have that 1/4 inch, because in this case, I need to evenly take 1/8 of an inch off of each of those sides in order for it to be even. So there's again. I say 2 because that's 2 little marks on my trimmer. And there. All right. Off to the floor it goes. So now we are going to take our adhesive, and it goes right on there in the center. Now I'm going to clean that up just a little bit because when I trimmed that card before, there was just a little bit of black on it from the card next to it. So I just want that off because it's going to bug me. All right, there we go. Now, probably what I would do would be this, even though you kind of can't see it. I have to be careful when I bend my head over like that, you guys. I have been working all day, and I was out and went for a long speed walk and had a hat on, and my hair is not washed, and it was super windy outside, so I'm a bit of a mess. So I don't want you to see my head. All right, but we're all friends, so maybe your hair's not washed right now either as you're working on this, right? Right, okay. So now let's take this card, but I'm gonna have it actually be a little bit centered more towards the bottom than the top, because I'm gonna take this cute little bicycle sticker with a little basket of flowers, and I'm gonna put that right up at the top. There we go, cute, cute, right? Okay, then the last thing I am going to do, I'm going to take this sticker, and that border sticker, and I'm just gonna put it down here along the bottom. And we're not gonna use the whole thing because I'm gonna show you what I usually do every month with my leftover stickers. You just never see it. And I thought it'd be fun to show you guys. Okay, so there's my second insert. And get that back on that sheet just so I don't end up with that where I don't want it to go. All right, that is now gonna go into my TN. Super cute, right? All right, now that's, I think, well, that's where we usually leave off together. And then, excuse me, as March gets closer, I start getting my monthly Traveler's Notebook insert ready. So I just want to show you what I did. I took the leftover stickers, and we have a lot, you guys. Look at how many leftover stickers we have. There are a lot left on your sheet. So here is my monthly insert, and this is what I use as my monthly calendar. This is something that I offer as an add-on, and in the package comes 2 different inserts. You have the monthly insert, and that is enough for all 12 months of the year. You have the month on 2 pages. Now, I started, well, if you guys were starting now, and if you bought this as an add-on, you would have been starting this with March. That's okay, you didn't lose January and February. Just when I'm done with December, you're actually gonna have 2 more months left. You can come back to January and February and use them in oh my gosh, in 2020, that's scary. Anyhow, so this is my March. And I just take the leftover stickers and I decorate, but I want to show you something that I like to do. Remember way back at the beginning, that seemed like days ago, way back at the beginning when I said not to throw away those product strips. Remember that? So look at that product strip. Very interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, Product strips on scrapbook paper are almost the same width of a roll of washi, right? What that means is I can pretend like this is washi. So what I did here was I cut part of that, let's just pretend like I cut it, and I ripped the other edge like that, and I put down part of my sticker here, and then I made that look like washi, right? And I just glued it down. Isn't that fun? So sometimes you think, oh my gosh, I wish I had washi that was stripe. Well, guess what? You do. It's part of the paper. Either you use that product strip like we did, or if you really wished you had a washi that was striped like that, you could buy a whole 12 by 12 sheet of that and then just make your little strips, and it's kind of like you have washi. So super fun, and I just use those stickers to decorate, and then I go back and fill it all in. Let's see, I think, oh, there we go. So this was last September, and then that's what it looks like filled in. So this was typically what I do is I will use this for work, and this had all the marketing things on it for that I was doing, and so a lot of times I will do that in pencil just so I make sure that if things change I can erase them. But here's an example again of that. That was a paper strip, not washi. All right, so that now wraps up, you guys. That wraps up March, and that was kind of a long one. I think we're going to end up being, right around an hour. So I had fun doing that, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that and are happily getting ready for the month of March. Thanks, you guys. Until next time, bye-bye.